Good evening, everybody. I'm about to show you Muskegon Heights, Dirty Bird's real home. See, for those of you that don't know about Michigan, there's Muskegon, which that's where the beach is and all that. And then there's Muskegon Heights. Well, Muskegon Heights is a small town that was built for the auto workers, factory workers back in the day. They're tiny little homes, and they're, about 800 to 1,000 square feet. No extras. A lot of them even have their washer and dryer sitting in their kitchen. Dirty Birds does. And that's where Audrey lives. So the videos she puts on her page these videos of the beach, and that, this is part of her life. That's not part of her life. She has to drive to the beach. She lives in Muskegon Heights, which a couple of years ago was the murder capital of the United States per capita. The city council is corrupt, and they have no money. The school systems, everything has just gone to shit, and the places are all burnt down, and it's bad. The roads are really bad. The police protection is really bad. There's shootings there. The crime rate's through the roof. That's where Audrey lives. Or sorry, Dirty Bird. Now, what I would like to know is how a woman who started out 4 years ago claiming that she didn't have to worry about anything because she had worked at a Bissell factory in Grand Rapids, and she was so she was able to retire because she had investments and blah, blah, blah. But then a year later comes out and says, well, first of all, nobody can retire at 40 years old out of a factory. That's a load of crap. But then second of all, she came out a year or so later, and said that she had filed, didn't say it, I found it online, she had filed for bankruptcy. See, in Canada here, I can look up a lot of your personal information in the United States that you cannot look up about me in Canada because it's not allowed. Our government doesn't allow it. It's private. So through that search, I was able to find out that she filed bankruptcy. So here is a woman who was claiming to be financially independent, was doing so well that she was able to quit work in her 40s and live this wonderful life. But then she filed bankruptcy. So I don't know about you, but when you file bankruptcy here, or I think anywhere, you're not allowed to keep your investments. No, that money goes towards paying off your debt. Then recently here, about a year ago, I run across a report where her husband divorced her. Not her divorcing her husband divorcing her. Even though that trailer they were living in Grant, Audrey never worked a day in her life there. She didn't contribute anything to it. Because she was married to him, he had to give her half the property. And it wasn't worth much. It was an old mobile home. Sorry, it was an old mobile home on a couple acres of property. So he gave her the back 40 or something like that. He divorced her. And that's the second divorce that she's had. There's probably a third in there somewhere, I don't know. And then it's also easy to look at who owns the house she lives in. And I can see the census reports. They're registered. I know for a fact she's a registered Republican because, see, when she moved to that area, the Heights, she had to do her census, update her census and her driver's license and all that. And that information is online. So here she was. That's how easy it was to find her address, her census report, and who she was living with, and what she paid for the house, what the down payment was, and all that. See, Americans think that, you have to really look for this stuff to find that type of information out. You don't, not in Canada, where you should actually get on your government to pass laws so that stuff isn't available to the world, because it is. Took me all of 5 minutes. And it showed me that she paid under $100,000 for that house. The house is not in her name. It's in her son's name because Audrey went bankrupt and she has no credit. But yet she likes to show and put me down for where I've lived and the properties I own. And she puts a lot of effort into that. So all I'm saying is, Dirty Bird and your hemorrhoid. Nobody in their 60s who has had a financially secure life chooses to live with their 41-year-old son and their other son in a 900 square foot home in Muskegon Heights. And if that's Audrey's idea of having a nice life, and you guys, you trolls, think that she intimidates anybody, you're nuts. She's a skeletal old woman that looks like the Crypt Keeper, who cannot get through life without dulling herself down using dope. And she looks like shit. There is no retiring comfortably from the Bissell factory. She has had to start her life over and over again because of the choices and mistakes that she has made in it. And it's because of how much that's cost her over the years. That's why she's ended up in the ghetto, because she has nothing left. So Audrey, save your advice on how to live and what people should act like and be like, because you have no success in life. None. You fucked it up, and there's no do-overs. So please take a look at the little collage I put together of Dirty Bird's front door. Dirty Bird on the block.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. What originally started as one shooting has now turned into two. Our camera actually caught that. We're just a few blocks away from the first one here on the corner of Ray and Hovey. I heard multiple gunshots. I also saw officers begin running. We saw a lot of other people running. This is a very populated area here. The perimeter has now gotten even bigger, so the search now intensifies. A lot of this information we don't know. As you can imagine, this is all unfolding as we speak. But this scene has now gotten much bigger. Again, I heard multiple gunshots, so now this is a second shooting.
Let's take a look at the junk pile on the back side of the cemetery. I mean, this is ridiculous. All they did was dozed it in one big pile. Couches, bathtubs, mattresses, shit, a little bit of everything. But yeah, this is right on the back side. I just want you guys to see for yourself. For a lot of you that have not been here in many years, probably have no clue what's going on over here. But yeah, this is where they dump everything. Instead of paying to take care of it the right way.
Rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 rolling. Hands up, hands down, back up, on the groove now, breathe now, hands up. Rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 rolling. Hands up, hands down, back up, on the groove now, breathe now, hands up.
Streets in Muskegon Heights right here. Right across the street. Let's take a look at the junk pile on the back side of the cemetery. I mean, this is ridiculous. All they did was dozed it in one big pile. Couches, bathtubs, mattresses, shit, a little bit of everything. But yeah, this is right on the back side. I just want you guys to see for yourself. For a lot of you that have not been here in many years, probably have no clue what's going on over here. But yeah, this is where they dump everything. Instead of paying to take care of it the right way.